Welcome back, viewers! This episode of my Kirby's Adventure playthrough will be the last in the main series, and you will soon find out why that is. Let's check out Stage 1 of Rainbow Resort, shall we? Level 7, or World 7, takes place mostly at night, as you may have guessed. At the beginning of Stage 1, you will find the laser, which I pick up, sleep, cutter, and sword abilities. With the laser, you can obtain a 1-up. The second section of Stage 1 takes place underground. You will find the Spark, Fire Breath, and Fireball abilities here. I recommend that you use the abilities that you find here to get past the blocks. Next, Kirby will be required to travel across the desert. Perhaps comb the desert for clues to DDD's whereabouts?
Tell them to comb the desert, you hear me?
What about you guys? We ain't found...
You will find the Stone, Ice, Spark, Needle, Beam, and Sword abilities here. With that done, we've completed Stage 1. Stage 2 will be special because it starts you off with the mini-boss gauntlet. As we go through this place, listen to this remixed Toho song called Mandala, made by Frozen Starfall and remixed by Violet Delta. After defeating every mini-boss in the game, we fly to the top of the tower to reach a Warp Star. This takes us to a small section that contains a sword ability with the exit to Stage 2. Time to look at Stage 3. In the beginning section, there are several enemies that give the sleep ability. There are so many, in fact, that it caused lag for my computer. I obtained the sword ability before entering the second section, which consists of a vertical section containing enemies with the cutter ability. In this section, Meta Knight gives Kirby with invincibility, which we use to plow through enemies here. Next is the final section of Stage 3. You will find the Beam, Parasol, and Sword abilities here. We've now completed Stage 3. Let's take a look at Stage 4. At the start, we will find enemies that home in on Kirby as if they are some kind of heat-seeking missiles from the Metal Gear franchise.
I think most people at this point know you can use the Nokia missile launcher during the second Sniper Wolf fight.
You will find the ball, laser, sleep, tornado, cutter, and sword abilities here. Next, Kirby will travel through 4 different rooms. The only thing to note here are the ball and fireball abilities. The final section of Stage 4 is a side-scrolling segment that contains the spark and fire breath abilities. We've now completed Stage 4. Wow! I've been getting incredibly lucky with the 1-ups in this level.
Wow.
Time to look at Stage 5. Miraculously, I managed to get through this segment containing enemies with the crash ability without taking any damage. Next is a battle with a mini-boss that has the wheel ability. With the right timing, we defeat it to move on. Afterward is a segment that has currents that blow Kirby both up and down. We will find enemies with the spark and fireball abilities here. The final segment of Stage 5 contains the fire breath, laser, and fireball abilities. We've now completed Stage 5. Stage 6 is a special stage mainly because it references the first Kirby game on the Game Boy, Kirby's Dream Land. Allow me to give brief summaries of the different places you visit. The first segment takes place in a hilly area. The next segment takes place in a forested area. The next segment after that takes us to a castle. Inside you will find an M-tomato and a 1-up. Next we appear on a coastline. Then we head underground. Afterward we appear in the sky. This game has weird continuity sometimes. Next is a castle in the sky. You will find the cutter, beam, and parasol abilities here. We've now completed Stage 6. Next up is the boss of Rainbow Resort. I purposely stopped the recording here so that I would have some time to record for the next part, as you will see why that is. Time to face the boss of Rainbow Resort, the penguin dictator of Popstar himself, King DDD.
How can I help you, King DDD?
I need a monster to claw with that there Kirby.
Let's spice up this battle by listening to King DDD's theme from Kirby Superstar. I think we can all agree that this fits better than the in-game boss theme. With King DDD defeated and the Star Rod fully assembled, it's time to return dreams to the inhabitants of Dreamland. Watch what happens next. As you may have been able to guess with that cutscene, Dreamland has been invaded by Nightmare, a wizard from unknown parts of the universe. He has conquered many worlds and has recently stopped at Popstar to give its inhabitants nightmares. It turns out that King DDD had a good reason to hide the Star Rod from Kirby after all. The first phase of the battle against Nightmare takes place somewhere in the atmosphere. Nightmare's power orb will move all over the screen, but mostly sticks to the right. The power orb will fire blue stars in various patterns. Okay, now I'm getting some Toho PC98 vibes from this. Alright, all jokes aside, Nightmare's power orb will also produce sonic waves that move slightly faster than the blue stars. Take caution in this battle because the power orb will move to the left part of the screen. Somehow I made this look much easier than how the boss fight actually is. I guess I have a lot of experience in Danmaku or bullet hell games. After defeating Phase 1, we take the Warp Star, giving chase to the retreating Nightmare all the way to Popstar's moon. For this part, I let the cutscene speak for itself because this is the true form of Nightmare, the embodiment of everyone's fears, a dark wizard!
You've been known to use the dark arts, haven't you?
In all seriousness, this will be a tough fight for starting players. For starters, Nightmare will shoot stars, ram into Kirby, and perform a drill attack. I know when I first played this game when I was a kid, I struggled with Phase 2. However, thanks to my years of experience in video games in general, I made this boss look much easier than it really was. Here's a tip for dealing with Nightmare. Jumping with a star rod is much like slashing with a sword in midair. When he opens his cloak, his weak spot becomes visible. That is when you will want to hit the weak spot directly with a slash from the star rod, as you see me demonstrate here. Overall, the music in this battle is pretty epic for a game that came out in 1993. Listen to it for yourself. I think you just might agree with me. With Nightmare defeated, he blows up part of the moon in an act of frustration to demonstrate that he's not finished with his attempt to conquer Popstar. We are given a brief explanation at the bottom of the screen for the story. Kirby fought to get the Star Rod, however, King DDD didn't mean any harm. The dialogue explains that Nightmare came to the Fountain of Dreams to cause the inhabitants of Dreamland pain. The king tricked Nightmare by removing the source of power for the fountain. By delaying Nightmare's plans, he essentially helped Kirby by hinting where he had put the different pieces of the Star Rod. With the nightmares now gone, Dreamland can sleep well tonight. That's the end of Kirby's Adventure for the NES. This game only serves to prove that you should never judge a game by its cover. There are always going to be things that a game will provide that you will not expect. For instance, the introduction of the character of Nightmare to the Kirby franchise was the first time in the series that there was a dark plot twist in store for us. The games that followed this one incorporated this same formula, like Marks from Kirby Superstar and 02 from Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards. With the main story complete, it's time to give this game my official opinion score. Story, 9 out of 10. It's indeed an original concept with very little dialogue, though that is to be expected from an NES game. Gameplay, 7 out of 10. NES limitations prevent this game from living up to its full potential. Visual and auditory design, 8 out of 10. The game looks good even with the occasional graphical and sound hiccup every now and then. And mechanics, 8 out of 10. If it weren't for hardware limitations, there would be several more things that you could do in this game. Before I sign off from this playthrough, some of you might be curious as to what I mean when I say that I will see you all on a paradise planet. That's kind of a long story, actually, but to make it as brief as possible, when I had wisdom teeth surgery as a 19-year-old, I had a hyper-realistic dream of being on a paradise planet containing a crystalline castle that would shift its form. At the time I referred to it as my own personal role-playing game. Then I got to wondering, what if I'm not the only one who had this dream? This gave birth to the catchphrase, I hope to see you all on a paradise planet. I think it works well considering both my personality and my username. Here is a preview of my next project. I will note that my computer may not be able to handle Majora's Mask in its current condition, but I'm going to try to make Paper Mario work if I can. If I go a long time without uploading, you would know that it's either because my computer stopped working, I have a busy schedule again, or both. Hopefully I will be able to finish Paper Mario before my computer gives out, but I guess we will see. Until next time, I hope to see you all on a paradise planet.